Welcome back to the West Coast Eye Institute podcast. We're excited to kind of keep going and kind of get more voices at our table that we get to really get the privilege of working with on a daily basis. Mm-hmm. But you get to kind of meet maybe in a different setting, not as serious, a little bit more fun and a little bit more relaxed, but still kind of purpose-driven. I'm Dr. Walia. I'm the comprehensive ophthalmologist here at West Coast Eye Institute, and I'm always joined with
Julia Castillo, the CEO for West Coast Eye Institute.
And that was very perky, Julia.
I know.
Yeah, that's it.
I mean, I'm getting good at this. I'm telling you guys.
I feel like Julia's already a superstar in her mind. She's already like ready for a blog and everything.
I don't know. Blogs are so early 2000s.
Again, we need a resident young person on the show. We bring back Giselle in this place. Well, on a resident youth today will be Bree. So, Bree, if you want to introduce yourself to everybody.
Hello, I'm Brianna, and I'm part of the surgical department here at West Coast Eye Institute.
Bree, you undersold yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to...
Well, no, I think that was right on point.
No, in my mind, I was waiting to hear Bree, director of surgery, and all things related.
You just say, I'm the Bree.
Yeah, that's it.
I'm the Bree.
And so, Bree, you've been in our surgical world now for probably, is it 2 years?
2 years, yeah.
And before you were doing surgery, you were over in the clinic side of the practice.
Right.
How do you think that, I think one of the things that we try to always highlight to patients that's really helpful, all of our staff and all of our teammates all know kind of the eye in a different layer of intricacy, right? We really take a lot of pride in that. Even Monica, our lovely lady at the front desk, she's seen surgery. Mm-hmm. We have students that have watched surgery. You started in the clinical side and then you switched over to surgery. How do you think that's kind of helped you in like getting comfortable in the surgical world?
So it definitely helped to move into the role of being in surgery. Initially, it was just I only knew the surface of the eye, not really. I knew the anatomy, but I didn't know the anatomy, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. And I feel like moving into the surgery world, I actually got to see the anatomy and see the layers that we go through, and it just in patient care and just being able to teach other people, it's helped tremendously to see from just clinic to now surgery. There's just so much more that I understand and can teach other people that I've seen. Yeah.
I think that, no pun intended, but when you're in surgery, you get to see the eye.
Right.
So while we talk about the eye all day long here in clinic, when you're in surgery and you get to see it 3D, mm-hmm. heads-up display, it's amazing.
It is.
And everything that we get to talk about, it's there. Right in front of you.
And one of the cool things that I think about our surgery department is we actually get to see it 3D. Mm-hmm. So, most people don't get that excitement to be able to see it on a screen, but we're able to show them 3D mm-hmm. of the actual eye instead of a 2D picture, which you can't see in depth.
Yeah.
So both of you guys are being in the surgical world. Do you think that there was a kind of a aha moment or something like, well, this is different than clinic. This is different what I've done, or different than something I've done for the last 5 years, 4 years, 10 years, whatever it might be. And surgery is different. Did you have one of those moments at all, or this feels different than clinic?
I think it became a tangible thing. I know, like I said just a second ago, we got to hear about it, but we saw the lens coming out and then getting replaced by another lens, mm-hmm. and then getting to hear the patient, wow, I can see mm-hmm. as they're walking out of the surgical room, because we have the OBS and we get to kind of be with them the whole time. For me, that really created that, wow, this is something really cool.
Yeah.
I think that really meant a lot to me.
It's not when we play basketball with the trash afterwards.
Oh, well, no, because I don't get to partake in that.
Yeah. Well,
it only says Dr. Wall invited me to play.
Yeah.
Okay.
You had an invitation to the basketball tournament?
Do you know what my participation is? The gloves going over me in there. I just see them going right over.
Well, that's a fair sentence. All right, Bree, how about yourself? Did you ever have a moment where I guess I'll ask it as a twofold question. When you realize this is different, and do you think you could go back to clinic?
obviously I feel like I could go back to clinic. I still know all the basic information that we would need. But I probably wouldn't want to go back, just because I love being in the surgical room.
Yeah.
I like being back there. I like being able to see stuff. I think one of my turning points was like like this is an amazing craft. Is just, we had a patient, I think he had like a white cataract, a younger patient too. And I remember Crystal was back there. He opened his eyes and he was like, I can see. And like, he just started tearing up. And to me, that was just like, holy crap. Like, we actually did that. We were able to make that happen for him.
Yeah.
But to see the cataract in person is kind of like, now knowing the stages of cataract, you can see how limited they are in vision. But when you actually see the cataract, you're like,
now I know why.
You can't see.
Yeah.
You know,
right.
Like it's amazing. I think that was my major turning point, was like, I actually like this a lot.
Yeah, and I remember that guy who you're talking about.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And he walked into the room kind of slow and choppy, and then after he had his first eye, he just sat down on the bed like it was no big deal.
Yeah.
Right? You almost take it for granted. The first time it took him like 2 minutes to get into a bed.
Yeah.
Until to get in a good position, and all of a sudden next time he just hops in.
Yes. Yeah.
And I think the surgical world, something that's kind of cool for us is this is the rare time you get to see and interact with the patient kind of at a vulnerable state. And it's just very authentic, I feel like, right? I mean, the experience of being with the patient in clinic, sometimes people are healthy and there's not a lot going on and there's just this abstract pain, right? Pain is not necessarily something you can grade on like a objective scale. So it's kind of helping patients get through things, and glaucoma is a mystical thing that you don't get to see, you don't feel. It's just one of those problems that develops over time. Diabetes, if it's light, you don't see the difference just yet. But when you're in the room, the patient knows something's going on. We know something's going on, and it's just a good conversation. I feel like that's probably my favorite place on earth is to be in the operating room.
Yeah.
And I think from that standpoint, it's kind of a cool experience to kind of share it with you guys. You guys are really cool back there to hang out with.
Yeah, I think that Bree, I don't know if you realized when you were talking, you were like, we did this surgery, we did this, and well, we know Dr. Walia is the surgeon.
Right.
I feel like as a team, we did do it all together. That's something we did together to help that patient. So I would agree with you.
Yeah. And I think for us as a group, I mean, it's, Bree mentioned we operate in 3D. Not every surgeon does. So you guys see me at my easiest cases that are complex, cases that need a little bit more extra attention, cases that just, you're like, that's an interesting eyeball. We've never seen that before. And you can't hide what you are as a surgeon. And I had a colleague once tell me, he's like, those really difficult eyes are where you really become a great surgeon, because the easy ones are easy. I mean, we'll do a great job on those. Those are fine. But it's the one that, this one needed a lot of extra work, a lot of extra equipment, and they needed the extra stuff, and they're still at an outcome where you're really happy. You're still aiming for that 20/20, right? So I think that's kind of a cool experience to get to share it with you guys and to watch that grow. So I think you get to see a little bit of the surgical side of stuff from us as a team back here. And hopefully we get a chance to see you actually, I guess, on the operating table. Is that kind of a weird way to say that? I think so, yeah.
I mean, yeah. That's
Maybe,
where we're going to see them.
Yeah. All right. So we'll see you on the operating table sometime, and you'll hear Bree's voice. I'm like, hey, I remember you. You talked a lot about something about the eye world. So we'll keep Bree around in the loop so you can always hear a little bit from her as we update and talk about surgery sometimes. So thanks for listening in.